So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 9-year anniversary and speculating all reveals for this upcoming anniversary stream. Hey everyone, it's Schmuckles. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this. Dweet posted the tentative educated guess schedule of events. April 15th is the mid-chapter 35.5 PTB. May 6th is the live release of that Survivor. May 9th is the FNAF anniversary broadcast. The PTB for that's going to be May 27th, which means the live release is likely going to be June 17th. So when speculating what kinds of things will be announced at the anniversary broadcast, they typically have this run of the show or schedule that they bring up every single year. This is the 7-year anniversary run of the show, and then the 8-year anniversary run of the show was pretty similar too. So we can see that there's pretty similar pillars or points that they're hitting every single anniversary, and then there's special announcements, surprises, and collaborations revealed throughout the stream. So we're going to speculate what those are going to be. The King recently did an interview with Behavior Interactive in which the developers were asked some pretty interesting questions about Dead by Daylight. So a big shout out and a big thanks to the King for getting this really valuable information. I'm gonna link the King's full interview in the description below. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. It's a great video. Matthew Cote pretty much confirmed on the licensing and partnerships front, they are living in 2027 right now.
We're not the ones creating the stuff. We're not the ones fixing the stuff for the most part. And we both work in the future.
True.
Most of our time is spent in 2028 now.
Sort of.
Something like that.
7 is full, yeah.
Wow.
Which means that every collaboration up until 2027 is known internally by Behavior, and some of these things might even be revealed at the anniversary. But first things first, for the anniversary broadcast, the first thing they will likely do is introduce the Twitch drops to viewers. Maybe it'll be a new badge and 2 new banners like it was before. Last year, the game What the Fog was introduced. They could introduce a new mobile game at this point, but I'm not sure because DBD Mobile shut down in the past year. So I was just kind of wondering, would they introduce a new mobile game to engage their mobile audience? I think it's possible there's some sort of surprise mobile game reveal at the beginning, and then they'll go into the year 10 roadmap where they're pretty much going to tell us which chapters are coming when. They're usually specific about which ones are licensed and which ones are original. So I have 2 different versions of this roadmap that I think could actually happen based on the past and based on how much they'd like to space out licenses. So my first of 2 speculations for the year 10 roadmap would be a licensed Survivor paragraph to follow the anniversary, and that Survivor paragraph would be The Walking Dead. This would be following in suit pretty similar to like Lara Croft or Nicolas Cage, some licensed Survivor paragraph right after the anniversary before the next chapter, and then 2 original chapters because they've really been pushing licenses really hard lately. The last anniversary we saw Dungeons and Dragons, then we saw Castlevania, which was revealed at the last anniversary live stream, and then the original Houndmaster Doomed Course chapter, and then Tokyo Ghoul. So 3 out of the last 4 chapters have been licensed, and then we're getting 5 Nights at Freddy's. So that's 4 out of the last 5 chapters licensed. They do like to reveal the next licensed collaboration at the anniversary stream to get people excited. So if that is a Walking Dead licensed paragraph to come the mid chapter after the anniversary stream, I think there would be 2 original chapters to follow. And maybe one of those original chapters would come with a new map. And then there's the March chapter that comes right before the 10-year anniversary. And I'm going to take an educated guess that if this was the speculation, this roadmap, that they would either do a Candyman paragraph or the Conjuring for the March license. Out of all the killers that are out there, I think these 2 properties are the most likely right now. We talked about this extensively in my previous video. If you want to see that video, you can click on the title above. But this speculation would sort of be much like a Sadako year or a Tokyo Ghoul year with a Nick Cage or Lara Croft paragraph that follows the anniversary. My second speculation for what I think is possible for the roadmap in regards to what's licensed and what's original is a licensed paragraph to follow the anniversary. This is kind of what they like to do, and they want us to expect these kind of surprises. So this speculation is a licensed paragraph that follows the anniversary, followed by 3 original chapters to complete the year. So this would be much like a Castlevania or a Project W year, where there's sort of a licensed killer paragraph or a licensed chapter to follow the anniversary, which is revealed at the end of the anniversary live stream. Art the Clown is also technically possible as a revealed licensed collab. It seemed like the license holders did know of some video game collaboration down the road that was going to be announced. Personally, I still think while possible, it's a little bit too early for Art the Clown and DBD. I do think The Walking Dead is most likely for like this surprise reveal at the anniversary if there is one. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video if you want to find out why. We definitely go in depth about The Walking Dead in this previous video, but there's some new rumors and information that I'd like to bring to your attention. So make sure to stick around to the end of the video. Let me know if you have any thoughts about the roadmap for year 10? Like, I'm sort of wondering, regardless of what we get for this roadmap, if Jason could be the 10-year anniversary for DBD. That'd be a very fitting 10-year anniversary. Going back to this video, though, there were some things I wanted to add on to the video. I think there was a little bit of misunderstanding from some of the things that I said in this video. I don't think the Fortnite survey guarantees what is or isn't coming into Dead by Daylight next. Like, for example, FNAF wasn't on the last Fortnite survey, but the Fortnite survey is helpful when there are known video game collaborations coming and we don't know what it's for. For example, I used this to speculate that Art the Clown could be coming to Dead by Daylight at some point, because we know that there's video game collaborations coming up for that IP, and it didn't show up on the Fortnite survey. So if there are known video game collaborations in the works and we don't know what game it's for, if it's not showing up in the Fortnite survey, I think that is valuable information. I'm also aware that there are Warner Bros. IPs in Fortnite, but my point in the last video was it would be really interesting to see a bunch of horror IPs show up on the survey for Fortnite, which we didn't see. When trying to speculate which licenses are most likely after FNAF, I put Jurassic World at 4. First, I want to reiterate that this was denied by Masuster. Masuster said even though Tokyo Ghoul is the next licensed chapter, that does not add any credibility to the Jurassic World rumors, and he even said that they're not true. And Masuster is one of the most reliable leakers. Also, Ruthless was wrong about the Ken Kaneki trailer. Like, the things that Ruthless said was going to happen in the trailer is not how the trailer played out. So that was actually debunked as false. And recently in the King's interview with the developers, there was a dev that said she wanted to do Jurassic World next. She said Jurassic World, not Park.
Go ahead. Please go ahead. It's something under worst comes to worst, someone will bleep it afterwards. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so my wildest dream is to get Jurassic World into DVD. I've been pushing it forever. Like, but you know, I've been like, can we get a Velociraptor killer into DVD? That is my wildest dream. But
T-Rex.
a T-Rex is a bit large and it looks comic if you shrink it a bit. But if we could make it as large as it should be, yes.
So we know that they live in the future up to 2027, and realistically, a developer feeling comfortable mentioning Jurassic World probably means it's not in the works. Like, there's no way she would mention an upcoming license and jeopardize speculation channels like myself or just the community looking at this and interpreting that as a leak. So I think there's probably not Jurassic World in the roadmap, but she was hesitating to say so. So it could be because one of the original chapters in the next year's roadmap is like some sort of original prehistoric chapter. I think that could cause her to hesitate a little bit, because obviously if they were working on Jurassic right now, there's just no way she would say this at the interview. But maybe she was just a little bit hesitant because she knows they're doing an original prehistoric chapter and she doesn't want people to be able to guess that based on the fact she's bringing up a dinosaur IP. So my money would be on either an OG prehistoric chapter, or she just didn't feel comfortable saying any license in general. If there is going to be a new map that's brought in the next year on the roadmap, and there probably will be, it could be the ocean map that developers confirmed that they are working on and we have not seen, or it could be an all-kill themed map too. These are both possible maps in the next year because the developers have brought this to the community's attention, so these maps definitely have to be on our radar when discussing the year 10 roadmap. From here, after the roadmap, the devs are going to go over the pillars of the game. Before, they said the 4 pillars of the game are trust and security, life balance, quality of life, and events evolution. I think likely this section will be reserved for the creator program. We're going to get an update to the Fog Whisperer program and the Twitch shirts. This is something that Eric Pope actually confirmed in the interview with the King.
In May, we're going to be talking a lot more about our creator program, the future of the creator program. Twitch shirts fits into that too. So there's a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes that are coming together. Unfortunately, Twitch shirts is a piece of it that needs to be connected. So we wanted to wait till we could have the whole package.
And the fact they were referencing May, that's when the anniversary broadcast is. So likely during the anniversary broadcast, they'll have a section dedicated to the creator program. Something else that also needs to be acknowledged in this section is that it was actually discovered in the game files of Dead by Daylight that Dead by Daylight will be adding creator codes similar to Fortnite. How they will work exactly is not known, but they're expected in due time. The devs did say in May that they'll be opening up more about the creator program and their plans for it. So that's probably going to be the anniversary stream and going to be a reveal at the anniversary. And Dweet's guess is that it will be select creators to get codes, not just anyone like in Fortnite. DBD News also posted about this on Twitter on April 15th, and someone asked, question is, which creators? Can any creators get this or just Fog Whisperers? And DBD News said there is no further information at the moment, but it will be released soon. Surely there will be a selection before activating this function. From here, I think there's going to be a special new reveal of a game mode that's going to be announced. Last year's anniversary, we saw the 2v8 game mode announced. Now, game modes and modifiers are not the same thing. In fact, they actually defined these in very specific terms at a previous anniversary stream.
And modifiers basically take a DBD match, change a few things, but ultimately you're still playing DBD. With this new game mode, 2v8, we're fundamentally changing the way that you play Dead by Daylight.
Take a look at this too. I don't know if this would mean anything, but someone said, I spy a game mode and modifier on the menu at the same time. This was a screenshot the developers shared at the Tokyo Ghoul live release, showing this work in progress, and someone noticed, hey, there's game modes and modifiers that are on the menu at the same time. So could that mean that we're going to have a bunch of things happening at the same time in the future, like shown on this menu? Or could the devs be teasing something like that? And I guess that's possible and worth mentioning, but also the menu could just be showing every possible option all at once. So I think a surprise reveal is probably going to be a game mode, and just based on the past, it's probably going to be one of these game modes from the survey. Recall that Dead by Daylight did a new survey about the new game modes like Zombie Tag. This was on December 23rd, 2023, and one of the game modes listed was 2v8, and then that came in as a surprise. So this player satisfaction survey listed a bunch of these game modes. So we have Deceivers, where survivors work together to complete tasks before one or more Deceiver can kill everyone without being discovered. You played rounds with voting between each round, so that's pretty much Dead by Daylight Among Us, or One Night Ultimate Werewolf, or Mafia, or whatever social deduction game that you know that pretty much is exactly this game. Swapped perspective, killers play in third person while survivors play in first person. Zombie Tag, a random survivor is picked to be the killer, down a player to swap roles. Once a survivor turns into a killer, they don't turn back. Keep playing until there's one survivor left. Bum Rush, more generators spawn on the map. Everyone moves at double speed. Survivors have 3 lives, from which they revive after a 20-second death timer. 2v8 Party, 2 killers go against 8 survivors. It even said hooks are removed, but cages of atonement prevail. And this was the game mode that was brought in last anniversary stream. Luck of the Draw, start the game with randomized perks and items. That is pretty much Chaos Shuffle, right? Giant, sizes are altered. Killers turn into giants while survivors become tiny. Now that's pretty much My Little Oni, right? So this actually is a really good roadmap of what to speculate for game modes to come, because the game modes and modifiers that are coming into the game are heavily based on this survey. Hide and Seek, no generators, no hooks, only Mori on downs. Stay alive for 5 minutes to escape through the exit gates. Auras will be revealed every couple of seconds. 5v5, 2 teams of 4 survivors and 1 killer face off to control the generators. I'm assuming that this is going to take place on one map. Capture the generators by removing generator progress toward your team's side in a tug of war gameplay. VIP, when the obsession is killed, everyone dies. Only the obsession can open the gates for everyone. That's pretty much saying like one person is going to hardcore get tunneled, which I don't know if people would want that as a game mode, and I think they might actually stay away from that because people do complain about tunneling a lot in this game. Luck of the Draw, start the game with randomized perks and items. That one was already mentioned twice. Tag, a random survivor is picked to be the killer, down a player to swap roles, survive for 5 minutes and escape. Okay, so from all of these game modes, which one would be the most likely to come in for the anniversary broadcast if there is a new game mode announced? And I think there will be a new game mode announced. For me, there's 2 options that most obviously fit. I'm going to bring one of them up now and one of them up later. Okay, the first one is the 5v5 game mode. It has a lot of similarities to the 2v8, where it's a 10-player crazy new Dead by Daylight game mode. So if they want to emulate the hype of the 2v8 game mode, they would bring in a 5v5 game mode. This would be something totally new that's totally different, so to classify as a new game mode. It would change the rules of the asymmetrical 4v1, and it would put a lot more players on the map, and groups of friends could also queue together for this. So to emulate the hype and the crazy player count that we saw for 2v8, I think the developers would most likely bring in this 5v5. I'm not quite sure how the queues would work for this mode, but I feel like they would probably try to make it so the killer queues don't take forever like it did in the 2v8 game mode. If they could somehow fix the killer queue times, which there are ways to do it, with a 5v5 game mode, that would incentivize the developers to bring in this new game mode. For example, I don't know if they would do this, but if they pretty much don't have the killer predetermined before the game starts, that way all they need is 10 people to queue and 2 of them are going to be randomly assigned as killer. Maybe you could queue in as a squad of 5 or less, so you could queue as 1 to 5 people in your lobby. And if the killer is not predetermined, that would make queues pretty instant for everyone. That would mean that the killer is determined once the game starts. However, the pre-game lobby will likely establish who the teams of 5 are. So it would put 10 players of the map similar to the 2v8 game mode, and then there would be 2 killers, but there would be 2 different teams playing. I think this game mode is the most likely that would be announced at the anniversary stream. Let me know in the comment section below which one you think would be. They did kind of allude to the fact that they weren't going to be working on any new game modes at the time of the Tokyo Ghoul live release stream.
Other game modes, like My Little Oni, would they be back anytime?
For right now, we're focusing on the quality of life and making sure that we address the main issues that are shown in our roadmap. As such, there might be delays outside of the regular release calendar, and also events or modes might not follow the normal cadence. So yes, we miss Meg's hair being all over the place, but we want to make sure the game is in a great state for you first.
It's kind of a good counter argument to there would be no game mode announced at this anniversary, but to me personally, I took this as the devs saying we don't have anything to announce in regards to modifiers and game modes for chapter 35. I think they could be working on stuff, and they probably are working on stuff down the line that they could announce at the anniversary. Okay, so we have our surprise reveal of the new game mode. From there, they're going to go into gameplay improvements. Based on the roadmap that they have for the quality of life changes, we'll probably have improved feedback to the surrender option or the go next prevention. They'll probably have taken some of the community's feedback into consideration and made some tweaks to that. This next wave, I think we can expect them to solve the bulk blood point spending issue, ways to pretty much spend 1 million blood points at a time, or a very large amount of blood points in a short amount of time. The new quest system is going to be implemented, which we talked about in the previous video. Ruthless posted about these quests and said, in the quest section on the PTB, there is a 2v8 tab. One of the quests is to play Ghostface. It seems like Ghostface will be one of these new characters and will be a playable character for this modifier. So he's pretty much saying there is a quest that exists in the 2v8 tab that was shown in the screenshot. Play as Ghostface for one trial. So he thinks that Ghostface is going to be a playable character in this modifier, possibly could be a part of some reveals in the anniversary of this nature. Someone also posted, imagine how cool it would be if there were DBD banners like Black Ops 3 calling cards. Have things tied to progress, could be like get 10k kills or end a match in under 3 minutes. Would be a sick way for people in-game to see their stats. The picture shows the banners for Call of Duty, and the King responded and said that this is what I've been wanting forever, combine the new quest system for this. So it made me wonder, like, would there be some sort of new huge reveal with badges and banners of something like this, where like the new quest system that they bring in is going to be tied into rewards and showing this achievement through your badge or banner? I think this is something that's possible and something that should be on our radar. There's going to be more perk presets, and they're going to preview perks in lobby probably. The quality of life changes have to improve the experience for new players, because Behavior is likely anticipating a whole bunch of new players from the FNAF franchise to come try Dead by Daylight, so it's got to be new player friendly quality of life changes. From there, they're going to reveal the new chapter. They're going to play us the new killer trailer, which is likely going to be Springtrap. Last anniversary, Matthew Cote talked with Sean Rowe at Wizards of the Coast, and they talked about the collaboration with Dungeons & Dragons and Behavior Interactive in Dead by Daylight. So that makes you wonder if Matthew Cote or David Richard are going to be talking with Scott Cawthon at this next anniversary. Scott doesn't usually like to show his face publicly, like we've seen on the Daco interviews. It's just kind of the voice of Scott, and Daco has some sort of image to represent Scott in the interviews. So it makes me unsure if Scott Cawthon is going to show his face at the anniversary, or if it's sort of just going to be like a voiceover with Matthew Cote talking to a TV screen. The FNAF fanbase loves Scott Cawthon. They even speculate that Scott Cawthon is the main character of the whole franchise, or that the main character is heavily based on him. So an appearance from Scott Cawthon is something that would likely help the marketing campaign for the FNAF DBD chapter. So I do think this has to be on our radar as a possibility. Like, I think Scott Cawthon could appear in some way, shape, or form at the 9-year anniversary. Would they be able to bring in a survivor and Michael Afton into DBD? Well, this Twitter account actually made a pretty good point for this. They said Scott worked with Blumhouse to design an original Michael look based on fan art. Hopefully this DBD collab means we'll get our first look at Michael Afton in the history of the franchise that isn't a spirit or silhouette. Praying Behavior was able to convince him Michael is a must. I do think there will be a new survivor with this chapter. Definitely Behavior would want to bring in a complete FNAF chapter with a new survivor. And if there isn't a new survivor and this is somehow just a paragraph, it would probably be down to Scott deciding that. I'm anticipating a full chapter with a new survivor, new killer, and a new map. The devs love to do this for the anniversary stream.
We're super proud to have a full chapter for the anniversary, and shocking no one, the map is a dungeon.
So that would be a new FNAF map with Easter eggs and a full chapter. And just on the conversation of making this game new player friendly, Gorgira pointed out something pretty interesting on Twitter. Dweet posted that the new map variations have officially been eradicated. You will now have one standard throughout every map, save for RNG. And Gorgira said, I wonder if this is for the new FNAF fans so they don't have to learn 80 maps. I think that's a pretty interesting theory. Back to the anniversary stream, they're probably going to overview Springtrap's power just as they have in the past with previous killers at the anniversary. Springtrap will likely have some axe ability or stealth ability, with some sort of frenzy attack. I do think they're going to be saying if you face Springtrap, 7 different cameras spawn throughout the level.
If you face Vecna, you're going to have a survivor, going to have 7 different chests that's going to spawn throughout the level.
Because cameras in this idea of point and click are essential to the FNAF franchise, so I think they will bring in 8 different cameras to emulate this playstyle or the FNAF gameplay, to put something recognizable to FNAF fans within Springtrap's power. They could use the spawns of pig boxes, xenomorph control stations, and Vecna chests for the camera spawns, and the survivor could kind of enter the cameras and see things on the map. Alternatively, the cameras could just be an Easter egg on the FNAF map. I'm also highly anticipating to see a bunch of FNAF cosmetics on original survivors, like a Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria uniform for a lot of the original survivors. Similarly to what they did with the Resident Evil Raccoon City police stars, they brought these skins to original characters. It could be a combination of Freddy Fazbear employee uniforms, as well as the clothing or merchandise you'd expect to buy at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. So that'd be like shirts with the animatronics on it, maybe some FNAF plushie charms as well, and maybe some animatronic cosplay cosmetics. I think they're going to milk the pumps here, and I think it's going to make a ton of money for both parties. So they're going to reveal the full chapter. There's going to be a ton of Easter eggs. It's going to be Dead by Daylight's love letter to Five Nights at Freddy's. And then from there, they're going to go to what lies ahead. Both the 7-year anniversary and the 8-year anniversary brought up what lies ahead, before they announced 2 upcoming projects within the world of Dead by Daylight. So this is the section for new Dead by Daylight experiences from the world of Dead by Daylight games. At the Tadaima event, Matthew Cote said that they are planning new games similar to the casting of Frank Stone. The thing is about the casting of Frank Stone, they promoted this game for months before the anniversary stream, and they even promoted it on the map Greenville Square. This is really notable when speculating what's going to be revealed. And then there's Project T, which is a player versus environment game. It was supposed to feature other parts of the entity that serve other purposes. There's a new narrative, gameplay, and rules, and I think it was sort of supposed to emulate Hunt Showdown personally, or that Friday the 13th game where you can sort of use weapons to actually attack monsters. Really interestingly, when going over what types of games there are, the devs talked about different directions they could go.
Of course, there's different type of stories in games, right? There's games that have a static narrative that you experience. That's great. There's also games that the narrative is made very organically by the players, like DBD is a good example of that. The casting of Frank Stone is somewhere in between, right? It's a game where there is multiple narrative, and based on the player choice, and different things will happen, and based on their choice, different endings and different branching in the story will happen.
So they usually announce new games from the world of Dead by Daylight that Behavior is working on, and there's trailers shown for all these games. So would Behavior want to work on a game that's similar to the casting of Frank Stone? Casting of Frank Stone was not like an amazing hit, but I do think it sold pretty well. I just wanted to compare this game to The Quarry because I think The Quarry is an example of a successful version of this game from Supermassive, right? So they have like the Quarry Steam stats. And you can see here there was 554,000 units sold and about 19.7 million gross revenue. And how does this compare to the casting of Frank Stone Steam stats? Well, there was about a fourth of the units sold, 123,000 units sold, and $3.8 million of gross revenue. So it was kind of nowhere near the impact that The Quarry had. But was it enough for Dead by Daylight to want to try this again? That's kind of the ultimate question. Like, do you think they made enough to invest in resources to do the same thing again or something similar? The King interviewed the developers of Dead by Daylight, and he did tweet about this. He kind of posted a roadmap of his upcoming videos, some of which have been released. He talked about the new licensed skin confirmed, which I think was confirmed to be a Pyramid Head skin from the Silent Hill franchise. The main thing I wanted to focus on here is the new potential board game collab. And then we even saw a tweet post about the newest original characters before Doomed Course are being added to the Dead by Daylight board game this fall. So maybe they would expand on this, or maybe there'd be a new board game collaboration happening. Could be something through Level 99 Games. So my speculations for the What Lies Ahead portion of the stream. I think there's going to be some sort of new board game collab that's announced, possibly through Level 99 Games. I'm guessing there's going to be a Blight Survival reveal trailer and a release date announced. This is a game that's been in development for a long time by Behavior Interactive. It's a player versus environment action horror game that is still confirmed to be in the works. There's no release date announced on Steam, so maybe the anniversary broadcast will announce a release date for this game. They have a Twitter account which was established June 2021. Project T was cancelled, but they're still going forward with Blight Survival. So I think there's maybe going to be a new story mode game revealed. Though this is likely going to be a super far away release date because the casting of Frank Stone has so much marketing before its release. So I would think that if there is a standalone new story mode game that's revealed, that's from the world of Dead by Daylight, it's just going to sort of be revealing the concept of it. They might not have a release date, and they're certainly not just going to release the game. If it is from the world of Dead by Daylight, they're going to want to market it for a long time on their socials. Matthew Cote pretty much said that they confirmed are trying to look into this.
We do have a lot of projects that are from Dead by Daylight, whether it's the movie, whether it's more other games like we've done with the casting of Frank Stone or even Pokemon You. We want more ways for people to enjoy the Dead by Daylight world, so we're working on that right now. We want more people playing the game. We have a lot in store to make the game better, make the game more inviting. We know that it's intimidating right now. It's a big game. There's a lot to learn, so we're working on that too.
So I think it could be a game that's similar to the casting of Frank Stone, where it's some sort of single-player story game, and maybe they'll actually have the characters of Dead by Daylight included, but it's not going to be like a game release or anything like that. From there, the developers are going to go over the 9-year anniversary in-game celebrations. Right, they've done this in the past where they have boosted maps, outfit sales, rewards, and more. They usually have a bunch of anniversary cosmetics on original additional characters, both Survivor and Killer, and they'll go over the anniversary event, which will probably decorate the maps and be pretty similar to previous anniversary events. And that would take us to the end of the anniversary broadcast, where I think they're going to do a surprise reveal. At the end of the 7-year anniversary broadcast, they revealed Nicolas Cage. At the end of the 8-year anniversary broadcast, they revealed Castlevania. So I think probably to follow in suit with previous anniversaries, they will announce a surprise collaboration at the end of the 9-year anniversary. And I think the most likely collaboration is going to be The Walking Dead. We talked about this in a previous video on my channel. Since then, the comic book version of Negan has joined Fortnite. And if Fortnite tweeter said the actor of Negan in The Walking Dead show, JD Morgan, would love to see another Negan skin based on the show version. CB Negan is damn awesome, though admittedly it'd be pretty cool to have 2 different versions of Negan. Be fun to hang with Andy as Rick again. And then there was this crazy rumor that was brought to my attention. Definitely take this with a grain of salt, but we're going to document this in this video. I think this is a good time to do it. This Fortnite YouTuber posted about the first look at Negan in Fortnite on March 25th, 2025. This is Tabber Hill with 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. And in the comment section, there was an interesting conversation. Believe in Bumper commented on this and said it'd be really cool if it was like a Nathan Drake skin, 2 different styles for the live action and its original source material. Maybe they're just not showing JDM yet. And then this person, Bob Dole, responded to this and said, I'm assuming this is just a comic collab. I'm inclined to assume AMC isn't collaborating with Fortnite currently because of a massive spoiler. DBD collaboration is in the works, seemingly with a custom event game mode that will feature zombies. The collab has been in the works for a long time, delayed to be perfected, and seems to be planned for the release of the 15th anniversary of the first episode of The Walking Dead. And the first episode ever for AMC's The Walking Dead was October 31st, 2010, so 15 years later it'd be this year on Halloween, October 31st. So that's when this person is allegedly claiming the in-game zombie event would come to Dead by Daylight. Now this is literally somebody just saying something on the comment section of a YouTube video, which has been leaked information before, but definitely take this with a massive grain of salt, right? We don't know if this is true. This is somebody just saying something. So I kind of just checked out their YouTube channel. They have 2 subscribers. I was like, how could this person say this? Or how could this person, Bob Dole, have access to such information? They're not a burner account. This account joined YouTube on September 20th, 2014. I just thought this was interesting because if this was somehow a leak, that would be a leak that's popping up on a Fortnite video. It's kind of strange if it's fake for that to be showing up on a Fortnite video. Like if someone was trying to fake a DBD leak for attention, they'd actually go to like me or DBD Leaks or post on DBD Twitter. But this person's volunteering this Dead by Daylight information on a Fortnite video. So could that be an argument towards this not being a fake leak for attention in the DBD scene? I just think it's interesting because they're mentioning a couple of things that could be connecting the dots with past things that we've seen. Like we were told AMC reached out to Behavior for a Walking Dead collaboration, and for whatever reason this hasn't come into the game yet. A custom event game mode or a new Walking Dead game mode could potentially be a reason for this. We know that they also like to announce game modes at the anniversary broadcasts. So if there's any validity to this random rumor here, maybe the game mode that's going to be announced is some sort of a zombie game mode. Like there was some mention of the game mode called Zombie Tag, and maybe they could incorporate this with a Walking Dead or Resident Evil theme. So 5v5 is my first pick for the game mode, but it could be some sort of zombie tag if this rumor is true and if they want to relate it to The Walking Dead. Also, interestingly, on April Fool's Day, Rick Grimes for DBD posted this and said The Walking Dead is officially coming to Dead by Daylight this July, adding a legendary survivor Rick Grimes to his roster via IGN. And this was an April Fool's Day prank that they posted this, but it's funny because Norman Reedus actually liked the post, and Rick Grimes posted about this and said, "Hello, Norman Reedus, would you like to join Dead by Daylight survivor roster as well?" It's just funny because if Norman Reedus knows that this Walking Dead collab is happening and perhaps they've used his likeness for a Daryl Dixon skin, maybe he took this post a little literally. You know, like he doesn't know exactly when it's going to be revealed, and maybe he thought it was actually a legit article from IGN. If the surprise reveal is not The Walking Dead, I could see some sort of John Wick licensed survivor paragraph happen. There was rumors about this because John Wick has appeared on previous surveys, and then Behavior partnered with Lionsgate to create the John Wick experience. So Behavior was interacting with John Wick license holders, so people were like, could John Wick ever come into Dead by Daylight? That would also be a potential surprise reveal. Or perhaps even crazier, if it's going to be like a Project W or Castlevania reveal, maybe a Candyman paragraph or a Conjuring chapter could be revealed at this anniversary. So let's go over all the anniversary speculations that we talked about in this video just to see how close we are. We think there's going to be Twitch drops with new badges and banners, a year 10 roadmap with Walking Dead or Candyman and Conjuring soon. They might actually reveal this at the time of the roadmap reveal. We'll have the Pillars of Trust that will include the creator program and Twitch shirts updates. We'll have a new game mode announced, which my top pick is the 5v5 game mode. Quality of life changes, that's going to be about blood points spending, the quest system, perk presets, and perk previews. The Chapter 36 reveal that's going to have Scott Cawthon, Springtrap's power, and the map with Easter eggs. Cosmetics coming with the new chapter. Fazbear uniforms, animatronic cosplays on original survivors, as well as charms that are plushies that you can actually put on the belt of survivors or the hooks of killers. What lies ahead? We think there's going to be a new board game collab, the Blight survival reveal and release dates, and a story mode game reveal of some sort. There's going to be Survivor and Killer Anniversary crowns and cosmetics. They'll talk about the Anniversary game mode and what this is going to entail this year. It'll be pretty similar to previous years. And then at the end of the stream, the next licensed collab is going to be revealed. If it's the licensed Survivor, I think it's going to be The Walking Dead or John Wick. And if it's a licensed chapter, it's either going to be Candyman or Conjuring. So this is it. This is what we think they're going to reveal at the 9-year anniversary. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Is there anything you disagree with? Is there anything you think could actually happen? Do you have any other ideas that I didn't cover in this video? I really do think the developers probably watch this channel are probably laughing at some of the things that are just way off. Maybe some of the things are actually going to happen. Also, really quickly, Dweet asked, is it safe to assume that Steady Pulse will not relieve a live stream on release day, which is May 6th, since PAX East is only days after? If not, that sucks. I'd kill to learn anything about Orla that we can, but it also makes sense why, since it's so soon after. And Dead by Daylight actually responded to Dweet, and Dead by Daylight said we confirmed that we wouldn't have a live stream for our next update, which is partly why we showcased the Rift changes during our chapter live stream. But as always, we'll have more to share about Orla during the PTB and leading up to the release. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this. That does it for this video. Goodbye.